Welcome to Life Chats with Maggie and Bunny. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Bunny.
Well, Bunny, how are you today?
I am good today.
Good, good. Today we're going to take a little nibble out of reality TV. Let's talk a bit about reality TV. And I'm kind of snickering and you're snickering because we're going to let the world know that we both watch some.
Yeah. Our little bit of I used to call it guilty pleasure, but I don't have anything to feel guilty about. But yeah.
No, but it's funny because now even when you say that, sometimes I do,
Yeah.
because I think sometimes reality TV crosses a line
Mhm.
that I would feel guilty about for watching it when that kind of stuff happens. But let's start by talking about something that we both watch.
Yep.
um Big Brother.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, right now is Big Brother Canada 12. We are Canadian, so we do get to watch that. So we do
I will
like the
admit
US
though that
one too.
I've watched other countries' Big Brother.
Yeah.
There, I will admit that I have, because again, you see people, as it says in this Canada one, you signed up for this.
Yeah.
These people sign up for this. There's nobody being exploited.
Right.
There's they sign up for it for their however many minutes of fame they may
Yeah.
get out of it, and for whatever reason they all want to be. I personally would never go on one of these shows, but I do like watching them.
I've thought about going on. Actually, my niece Marissa and I talked about it, of us actually like going on as a secret like family connection, getting on there and like covering the whole anti-bunny thing by me going in and being like, I'm not old enough to be your mom's, but I'll be like your auntie and the cool auntie. And then that way, if she accidentally called me Auntie Bunny when, when we were in the
Yeah.
house, then it would be covered. So, and then strategically not like we came up with all whole things like what we would get in our basket if we were HOH, and how I couldn't get any pictures of my sister because like then they if she got it and it was pictures of her mom, like it was that kind of stuff. And having
Yeah.
having
So you
having
planned it
those,
out.
we planned it out. We thought, but I don't think I could actually play. Like I really don't think I could actually. And if I did play, I don't think I'd get very far because I have a hard time with lying and being deceitful and purposely hurting people and
Manipulation
the minute,
and
yeah, that's the stuff. Like I have a hard time with that stuff. So I don't think I'd be very good at it.
I'm much better as the couch watcher, where I can say, are
Yeah.
you out of your freaking mind? Do you not see what you're doing? Because we see it all,
Yeah.
or whatever they let us see.
Right, right,
So we have a different view of what's going on than the people that are
right.
really there. And, yeah. So I do. It is, like you say, it's one of my guilty pleasures, even though I don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, when I do dislike reality TV is when I do see that they're exploiting people who didn't sign up for this.
Right.
And, for example, you know, one show that comes to mind is Sister Wives.
Right.
I have watched that show for a number of years, but then I came to the realization that those kids didn't sign up for that.
Hmm.
They're the majority of their lives have been in the public eye, even though they didn't sign up for that.
Right.
And that's when I have difficulty with it.
Yeah.
Did I stop watching because of that? Not always, but I definitely have a sour taste right now because one of their children completed suicide and died. And I see now the whole grief of that. And because of what I do
Right.
as a doula and a grief worker, I see that being exploited.
Hmm.
And I think, don't show me that.
Right.
That's just in poor taste. Like,
Yeah.
this is no longer entertainment.
Hmm.
This is somebody's real life.
Yeah. And so there is, I agree with you. There are some times where it it can go too far
Yeah.
and make you uncomfortable. And it is true that like each of us are going to have a different line for that, like
Yep.
I have watched some reality TV show. Even I'm thinking about things like Oprah, Dr. Phil, like those kind of shows too, which although they're not like in the same kind of format, it is glimpses into people's lives and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that and again edited because like even when people talk about the shows like John and Kate plus 8 or Sister Wives or those is that it is still edited. So if you're getting a 1
Yes.
hour glimpse a week into somebody's life for 13 weeks, 20 weeks, whatever the season is, it's not, they have footage sometimes 24 hours a day for so many
Hmm.
days and they cut it down to 1 hour. They are choosing the story of what they're going to tell. They don't tell
Absolutely.
all of the story. Um, and I do think about how many, this kind of topic kind of came out just because we were talking about Big Brother 12 and the episode that we watched. Now, for those of you who don't know, but we do pre-record these, so it's a little bit behind of something that will happen later. But just this week's, we were talking about this week's thing and about how somebody said something sort of inappropriate, and I said, yeah, but like it's the show people edited it and they left it in there on purpose, and
Yeah.
that person winds up on the block, and it's like, yeah, because they can kind of change your view on someone by what they choose to show and what they don't show. And so even in a case like Big Brother or Survivor, because I also watch Survivor, game shows, those kind of things, is you don't know all of the details that are happening
Right.
when it's so we don't see, except if they think, oh well, this they know how, in this case they knew who got put on the block, so they could edit that show to make so then you knew, so they're like, oh well, so and so is not, Vivek didn't get put up on the block, so we don't really have to show very much of him this week, or so and so didn't really do anything, so we don't have to worry about that person. I can
Hmm.
see how that can happen, how that
Yeah.
how that can look like that. um even actually, so we talk about getting the wool taken off, off of our eyes, or uncovering our eyes to different things in the world. And I know that I was actually it's a weird thing how these things get put together in my brain, but I was watching a TikTok with people who were producers of regular TV shows and movies. So not reality TV shows and movies, but they linked it to talk shows. Um, and I would imagine the same kind of thing happens in reality TV shows as well, is when you're looking for continuity in the edits,
Hmm.
is they have mugs and glasses and stuff that you can't see through when they're drinking. So then that way if you made an edit of a quote unquote live, on a talk show, they said, say that somebody was asked a question, but like the flow of the questions and the answers would be better if the first question was actually at the end, it would be funnier. And so to be able to do that, they just make it so they drink out of coffee mugs. And I had never really realized that before. I thought, because the coffee mugs usually have the name of the show on there, I just kind of blissfully unaware and thought that that would be why. But it makes more sense that from an editing standpoint, that if those, so then you couldn't see the rise and fall of the liquid inside. And so it would make editing a little bit easier. And
Hmm.
I'm sure the same thing happens with reality TV
Yeah. You
where
don't know when that comment
right,
was said.
exactly.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
true.
And when
That's
something,
true.
they could keep some footage. Like there was one thing I did show you guys because I caught it on their first episode this season where the people were coming out to go into the house and they were introducing them, and that the way that the last four people came out, it was in a certain order, but when they panned away and cut back for a second, the two people were flipped. They
Yeah.
were standing in separate order, and then they flipped back to the original order. And so I was like, oh, they were trying to pull this off as a live broadcast, but clearly it's not, because these two people switched spots and switched spots again. So the editing was actually bad in that spot. But the only way you would know that is, and like Maggie made the comment of, you made the comment of, only you would notice this, buddy. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one that would
I'm
notice
sure
it,
there
but
were other people
yeah,
that did.
but it was like a case of like being like, but I was like, see, they're trying to say that it was live, and yes, there were live people like sitting in the audience, yes,
Yeah.
but the fact that they were saying it was live and I knew it wasn't live, and so to actually have a piece of evidence to be like, see, it really isn't live. But yeah, like I think about that even with like, I personally have never watched an episode of the Kardashians, but I know who they are,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, right? Because I live in the world, so they're around. And I do know that I've heard even people like them talking and stuff too, that sometimes the editing of the show doesn't depict like
Yeah.
like their real life. So the things really happen, but the way that they edit it and put it together. So I wonder, I'm thinking about this on like, it actually made me have a question of, how is it that you edit your own life?
Yeah. And what actually is reality?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're thinking that these shows are reality
Right.
television, but they're just as much scripted
Mm-hmm.
in some degree as Little House on the Prairie
Yeah.
or Happy Days
Yeah.
or all of those old shows. It's just under the guise of reality TV, but they're
Right.
still showing us what they want to show us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're right. How much do we edit?
Yeah. Where do
Something
we
to think about.
and which way do you do it? Like, and even to the point of, when I talk sometimes about healing things, and you and I have talked about this too, is looking back on something and changing your perspective. So instead of being, we were talking about this too, about being victim mentality and
Yeah.
victimhood, and instead changing this, instead of, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen for me? Even Bashar talking about how everything is neutral in the universe. It's just what value we put on it is where he talks about it being like, that's where our power is in the universe. That's our creation, is because we can look at it with a different perspective. And so
Yeah.
that's an edit, in our life. If we take something out, if something, I do remember taking a healing course, and the person who was facilitating it saying, what, and I didn't understand at the time, right? Because I was newly into the spiritual community and learning. And she said, what situation happened in the past that you wish didn't happen the way that it did? And she guided people along, like pulling something out, and then like, because when you take it out of your memory, like you take it and then you can change it and put it back in a new way. And now I understand that that's what she was talking about, is exactly what I'm talking about, the perspective thing. But at the time, I didn't understand that that's what was
Mm-hmm.
was happening. And that's kind of interesting, right? Changing,
Yeah.
because if you want to find, like they say this, the thing too with like synchronicities and things like that, is if you look for something, you'll find it.
Yeah.
This is like a bias, I forget what it's called, but that like, because you're looking for it, you will see it. Kind of like when you buy a red car and then all of a sudden you see how many red cars there are in the world, is there was always that many red cars, you just weren't looking
Yeah.
for them before. And so the same thing happens with you can, when you take out a memory and you change, or a situation in your life, and you'll see evidence, because the universe just says yes to whatever you want. If you say, I want to have this experience, the universe, okay, have this
And it
experience.
sometimes is about a reality and a
Yeah.
thought or an energy. The universe responds to energy,
Right.
not necessarily what you're saying.
Right.
So sometimes the words that you're saying
Right.
are not what they're responding to.
Right.
Even for example, I can even use my dog as an example.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell my dog he's a stupid idiot, but he thinks that I'm telling him he's the best dog on the
Yeah.
planet, all in a matter of how I say the words. He's
Yeah.
not hearing the words.
Yeah.
He's feeling the energy behind
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
And it's the same way with the universe.
Yeah.
When we say to the universe, I want abundance,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to give you abundance. Abundance of what
Right.
is something different,
Right.
because you didn't ask or say what you wanted abundance in.
Right.
So I don't know. What does that have to do with our desire to watch reality TV? Is
Well,
that,
and I think because when I watch reality TV show and most of the reality TV shows that I watch now, I'm trying to think of what I watch. Like, so I watch Big Brother, I watch Survivor, and then I watch uh Catfish, the TV show, both the UK and the regular version. Um,
never watched that?
yeah, those are the ones for sure that I watch. Like, I don't think I tried to watch the new traders stuff that has been showing up, but I just yeah, it was stuff that you had to pay too much attention to, and I know I didn't want to do that. Because kind of it's mindless. Like when I turn to these shows, it's for mindless entertainment. Like
Yeah.
it's not for, and so it is for, like, for me it's like also it's the interesting like human, like how do they react, how do they interact, so it's like that connection and the way that people think and what they do.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I like. The catfish stuff is purely because when I met Steve, my late husband, I met him online, and at the time I believe Catfish the TV show was just come out, and people that when I worked at Walmart, they were like, "You haven't seen a picture of him yet? You don't know what he looks like yet? How do you even know he's really who he says he is?" And they're like, "Because of Catfish." And I was like, "What's Catfish?" And so that's how it got introduced to
Yeah.
me. And so to kind of have that, and honestly, I do root for the fact that it would be the actual person, and it is like that they have a genuine connection, and at the end of it that they do. Oh no, I also watch Help. I'm in a secret relationship. That's the other one I watch as well, which is kind of like a spin-off thing. Um, but yeah,
I've never
those
seen that one either.
yeah, that's an MTV one. And like I said, it's because in the apps on demand, it shows up like the same day usually as the Catfish TV show one. So then I'm like, oh,
Oh,
what's this
okay.
one? And so I started watching it. It's a few seasons. It's pretty much it's people who are like, I haven't never met their friends or their family, and we're gonna get married or we're gonna move in together, and I would like to meet the people in their
Hmm.
life, and why am I being hidden? Some of the reasons are interesting, and so that's the stuff for me. It's really like it really is when it keeps my attention is when um it's that interesting dynamic between people, and that's
Hmm.
the biggest draw for me.
It's funny when you said it keeps your attention, because that brought to mind last year, as you know,
Yeah.
I stopped watching Big Brother
Yeah.
because it was making me angry. And I
Yeah.
said, I can't watch this if I'm going to have that emotion every time I watch it.
Right.
And I was quick to notice, no, I can't watch this because it's just making me too angry. It wasn't entertainment anymore.
Yeah.
I was, I was feeling my blood pressure raise.
Yeah.
And so, so when you said about what it does for you,
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I wonder too, is what does reality TV do for us? What does
Yeah.
it give us? If and I'm not here to judge
Yeah. Yeah.
what anybody does, but I'm saying, what does it feed us? Does it feed us something we're missing? Does it give us that mindless escape from reality?
Hmm.
And I think for every person, it's probably something different.
Right.
And
Well,
I'm curious to our listeners of, if you do watch reality TV of any kind, and it's not just the kind of shows we've mentioned.
yeah.
There's also reality cooking shows. There's
Right. Right.
also reality renovation shows.
Right.
There's
Right.
tons
Buying
of
buying
reality.
houses and
Yeah.
renovating, buying houses, doing the extreme makeovers. I don't think that's around
Yeah.
anymore, but
Like,
all those kind of things.
what does it do for you?
Yeah.
What is the draw that pulls us in?
Yeah.
Like,
I know, cuz
I
yeah,
know
when you're
for
talking
me,
it's
the Big Brother, it's the competition.
yeah. Yeah.
And I think last year I felt when I was feeling those emotions, it was because I was feeling it wasn't fair, it was
Right.
rigged, and they had already determined who they wanted to win, and that's
Right.
what I seen happening. And that's when I got turned off from it. The same as I said, the sister wives got turned off from it when
Right.
I see them exploiting people.
Right.
And so, what is it that draws us to it?
Yeah.
You
And
know, it's
it because when you talk about that, like, what is it that draws? I know that in like some of them, and this is kind of why I chose not to watch them, is because I know other people who did watch it and said that they felt superior to the people who were on the show.
mm,
And I was like, "Oh, I that's icky to me, right? I don't want and I don't want like that you're judging harshly, like, because I guess like things like I have watched other like Cops. I have watched that one. When I was younger, that would be like one of the first reality TV shows. Um,
mhm.
and it was the sensationalism of that, and I think, yeah, I think there's like the stuff with that. A lot of the stuff where it was, because I mean, you said Sister Wives. I didn't really watch that, but like there's the Housewives of whatever city, like Los Angeles,
Oh
New
yeah,
York,
okay. Yeah.
Dallas, whatever thing.
I
And
haven't seen those ones
I
either.
haven't seen any of those either, but I do know, like, I've heard of that it's a lot of like fighting and drama, and that to me is like, like you said with the whole anger thing from Big Brother last year, is like, I don't want a whole bunch of drama in my life, so I'm not going to choose to like watch that. But I can
Yeah.
understand how other people would be entertained by that, again, because they're probably like, well, my life's not so bad if so and so, like, at least I don't have
And
that
that's
life.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's true when you say that, because even when you say when some people may watch it to feel superior, like
Hmm.
I don't think, like, for me, one show that comes to mind when you say that is the 90 Day Fiance show. Sometimes, and it's not that I think I'm superior to those people, but
Hmm.
I think sometimes when I watch that or I've seen clips about it, I think, how can you be so thick
Yeah.
that you get into this? Like, can you
Yeah.
not see the person is not in love with you?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know if it's that it gives you the feeling of superiority,
Right.
or if it just does it make us think we have more insight. I don't
Right.
know. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, because I know some of them, you watch them and you think, like, really? Like,
Yeah.
you can't see that?
But people are so curious about everything, like everything, and in people's lives. I know that, um at least my kids, there was one person who, like, how many of so I'm jumping around. How many YouTube videos and TikTok streams and oh, I'm blanking on uh the other types of uh like things that they can go on, that they can watch people live streaming playing video games, and like
Yeah.
just watching videos like of people play, like, that's a reality TV show as far as I'm concerned. It may not have all the production value of, like, Big Brother and stuff like that. And if Big Brother and those people could figure out how to make money off of like these big productions, they would. And for right now, it is, I watch another, I guess, reality, if I want to go reality TV show that I would watch, would be Beard Meets Food, where he's a competitive eater, and he goes and on YouTube, and he goes and eats whatever challenges are at different restaurants, and he goes around and does that.
Oh,
That's a really a reality TV show too. And I don't, why I watch this man eat, like, I don't know, a 76-ounce steak when I don't even like steak, but like it's entertaining. It's fun. It did start in 2020 with like nothing else to watch on YouTube,
mhm,
and started
mhm.
watching this, and he is funny, but and you do make connections, and that's another thing too. You make connections with him, and his fiance was very prominent in his videos, but now they broke it up. And so like it was an announcement, like it was a whole thing, because people felt like they knew him now.
But
They
do they?
but exactly, do they really know? Like, is it really
Yeah.
reality? Again,
It's
because he edits it,
mhm.
is it really reality? Like,
And
it's
it's the same thing in any of these shows.
mhm,
Do we really get to know those people
right.
like we know people that we are truly connected with.
Right.
Like
Right.
they use the term reality,
Right.
but is it really reality?
Well, that's why I like some of the production people, they don't call it reality, they just call it unscripted. And meaning that even in something like Big Brother and Survivor, they are cast. Like
Mhm.
they're cast members. They go for auditions to get onto the show. And then when they're in the show, they have specific things that they have to do. So,
Right.
every day they have to go into the diary room. They, on Survivor, they sit them down and they talk to them and,
Yeah.
about competitions and, after the whatever, and then they tell them like these are the rules. This is what you have to
So
do.
it's reality according to production.
Right, exactly, right? So those are the things. And even like you said last year, and people have accused Big Brother production staff of setting up competitions
Mhm.
to make specific people win when they
Yeah.
were at risk of going home, or some new amazing, advantage comes out that saves the person that you were pretty sure
Would
was
have been
going,
going home.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And they happen to win it, or they happen to find it. And so they have been accused of that. Now whether that's true or not, people can always look at things and say that. So whether that's true or not is neither here nor there. The fact is that we wouldn't know either way, because it's,
Yep. And the
yeah.
fact is, we're talking about it today.
Yeah.
So that's giving them, in some ways, what they're paid to do,
Right, right.
because here we are, regular human beings, talking about it and having a podcast about it and
Yeah.
inviting people to engage with
To
us
engage with
about
us.
it.
Yeah.
So, hey,
But and
engage with us about it if you like.
and it's to us, it's like there are some times where we do, like, when you said that you were angry last year and had to stop watching, I know that even this year, like, there's frustration, like you're frustrated with the people and some of the choices that they make, but it wasn't the same. Like last year, your view on it was much different, like the reason you
Yeah.
stopped.
And I can't guarantee that I won't stop this year.
Yeah, yeah,
If it gets to the point that I think it is rigged
yeah,
and not spontaneous of what
yeah,
I come to expect of it.
yeah, yeah. And that's what that's interesting, right? Is also like, I also think that just like any TV shows or books or movies or other things, I also have noticed that as I'm changing and connecting more to my soul and the
Hmm.
spiritual side, is I don't enjoy the things that I used to enjoy
Right,
in the
right.
same way. And I understand why that is. Um, doesn't mean that it doesn't, I'm like, oh, so sometimes it's like, am I just watching this out of a habit? Am I watching this out of some nostalgia because I've watched every season
Yeah.
of, like, there's that
And it's
possibility
true.
too.
Like the sentence that comes to mind when you say that is the things you look at change when you
Yeah,
change the way you look at things,
yeah,
or vice versa. When you
right.
change the way you look at things, the
The
things you
things you
look
look
at
at
change,
change. Yeah.
as,
Dr. Wayne
and that's
Dyer.
where, like, that's the truth of it. Like, that's why we're evolving.
Right,
We're, we're just like the skin that's on our body. It's constantly changing. It's not the
right.
same any day.
Hmm.
And we're evolving and changing, and we're allowed to.
Yeah. and
And
and can reality TV show, like something like Survivor, who is in its like 45th or whatever season, because they do two a year, like they always have to change, but they have to also keep some of the stuff the same, right? Their core has to be the same, but they change things, because otherwise people why are people going to watch, right?
mhm,
And so I do see sometimes, like, even in Big Brother, you could see at the beginning when they're announcing, like when they're doing the interviews, before interviews, and they're like, I'm looking for showmance with a brown haired girl, and then the next person is a brown haired girl who's like, I'm looking for, like, you know that cast the people to, and then another
Yeah.
one who's like, I'm against this, and then the other person who's like, I'm all for that. So like, you know that some of it is put there for the showmances
Entertainment.
or for
Yep.
the drama that's going to be created. And what I love even more is when you think that there's going to be an obvious connection between people and it's not, like the two people who you never would have thought would have gotten together do get together. But I do have kind of a funny thing in that I don't, like, I remember the people's names while they're there. Like this season, I know who, I couldn't even tell you who played in Big Brother US in the summer. Not even, don't even know who won.
Because
Don't
when
even
it's
remember.
over, it's
Yeah,
over.
it's done. Done. Bye. I don't need to remember you
I
anymore.
guess we're not what you call super fans.
We're
We're
not super
only
fans.
semi fans.
I'm temporary fans, but hey.
Yeah, we're temporary fans because
Yeah.
if you change it, we're leaving. If it no longer
Yeah.
resonates with us, we're leaving.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that I want to just let people know that you can have your likes and your
Yeah,
dislikes about things, and you don't have to feel guilty about them. And if you like your preferences, and who knows, like we both were saying, it could change, and it probably
yeah,
will. It probably
and it
will
does.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, and it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does.
So
So that's our talk for today about reality or not so reality TV. We'd love to
yes.
hear your comments about why you watch it or why you don't watch it or
Yeah.
anything to do with that. Share
Yeah,
with us,
absolutely.
buddy. Tell them how.
Okay. So you can always find us on Facebook, on our Facebook page at Above and Beyond. Then we also do have our email address at aboveandbeyond@gmail.com, our website at above.com. Sorry, at aboveandbeyond.com. Wow, I just shortened our business name. That'll make it easier. And yeah, and everywhere where podcasts, you can find your podcast on Spotify, everywhere else, and YouTube. Look for them every Monday morning at 11, unless it's a holiday and we've taken the time off, like we did for Easter. So, but
Yes,
yeah,
we did. And sometimes we just take a day off because we can.
because we're the bosses and we said so.
Okay, have a great day.
Bye.